Are DNA tests really accurate? I've heard this question so many times. You probably have as well. Well, in this video, we're going to discuss a way that you can be absolutely sure that yours is. See you in a moment. Welcome to the Embrace Your DNA Greatness channel. We are here to inspire, to motivate, and to promote cultural awareness. Please connect with us by hitting the sub button, which should be a little red square on the bottom left, or by subscribing and visiting our YouTube channel. When people learn that I have had my DNA tested and have my results, I get some varied reactions. Some people are very happy for me because I've learned what was in my DNA for so long, from the time I was born, and didn't know the ancestral connections. Others ask the question, are DNA tests really accurate? How do you know what they told you is really the truth? Well, before the end of this video, you too will be sure how to know that your DNA test results are accurate. We're also going to discuss two popular types of DNA tests. We have dubbed them the country test and the tribal test. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of each of those types of tests and what type of company you should choose. I want you to bear in mind the acronym DYOR. And if you don't know what that means, we're going to be discussing it later. And then we'll talk about some of the benefits of taking the DNA test, learning about yourself, the ancestral connection that's locked up inside of you. It's very exciting. I'm glad you're here. And now we're going to first roll the animation for the country test. It's going to talk about the country test, what it is, some of the pros and cons of the country test. Let's roll the animation.
Let's look at two types of DNA tests that are being taken to discover ancestry. First, the country discovery test. You may know someone that has taken a DNA test and was very excited to learn that they had Nigeria, 63%, England, 19%, North America, 18%. The advantages of this test are, number 1, budget-friendly, sometimes $99. Number 2, informative. You know where you're from. Disadvantage. Number 1, doesn't show tribes. Why is this important? Take Nigeria, for example. There are more than 200 tribes in Nigeria, each one with a unique culture. If you want to connect to the culture, you need to know your tribe.
All right, we're back. So as we saw in the animation, the country DNA test it's a very good test. It basically, one of the great benefits is sometimes you can get that test for $99. Tells you what countries you're from. I remember one person where I'm located in when I had to go in for jury duty. I found out when she learned that I was, for example, mine told me that I am high percentage Nigerian. When she learned that, she said, I'm Nigerian too. I was like 63% Nigerian. So, and you might have noticed that coincided with the percentage that was in the animation. Well, she was really excited about that. I had another friend on one of the social media channels recently, and he just got married in Ghana. He said he had never thought about getting married. He said he met a woman that just blew him away, and he got married. He did a traditional Ghanaian wedding, and I think it was Ashanti tribe, if I'm not mistaken. But when he learned that I had just gotten married last September in Nigeria with a traditional Igbo wedding, he said, we've got to get together because I know I'm mostly Nigerian. So we can tell by what he said that he took the country test. So these tests are getting people excited, and that's great, and they're very affordable, and that's the wonderful thing about the country test. But now we're going to roll some animation on the second type of test, which is the tribal test, the test that tells you your tribe. Okay? So now I will see you on the other side. Let's roll the animation. Bye-bye.
Now, the tribe discovery test. Nigeria, 63%. Igbo, Yoruba.
Okay, I had to stop the animation right there because our narrator was doing a great job until he got to the pronunciation of one of the Nigerian tribes. He said Igbo, but actually, so that I don't get any negative comments in the comment section, I wanted to stop and correct that. It's actually a Nigerian Igbo. It's the Igbo tribe, the Yoruba and the Igbo tribe. So please, anyone out there that is Igbo or knows Igbo people, do not come for me in the comment section. Thank you. Okay, let's continue with the animation now.
England, 19%, Anglo-Saxon. North America, 18%, Apache. The advantages of this test are, number 1, detailed tribal information. Number 2, you can learn about the tribal culture. Disadvantages. Number 1, more expensive, $300 plus. Consider splitting the cost with your siblings of the same parents, since you have a common DNA source. If possible, allow a brother to send the sample, since men have both the maternal and paternal DNA lines.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the animation and that explanation about the tribe test as much as I did. If you like what we're doing right now, please give us a thumbs up. In doing so, you will not only help this channel, but you will help us to get to other people because the YouTube algorithm really likes us only if you like us. So please give us a thumbs up because other people that maybe have taken just a country test or maybe haven't taken a DNA test, they're going to also want to know how to make sure their DNA test is accurate. So by hitting that thumbs up, you're helping us to share it with them. But let's talk about this for a moment. So we've seen the explanation of the country DNA test, and we've seen the explanation of the tribal DNA test. Which one do you think you want to do? Please put it in the comment section, and I will respond to as many comments as possible. I promise to do that. But let me just tell you, just from my perspective, if you've done the country DNA test, I want to applaud you. It's good that you've done that because you know now something that's been locked in your DNA from the time you were born, and you are more knowledgeable about what parts of the world you're from, and that is great. I think that's a first step though. I want to encourage you and anyone that hasn't done your DNA test yet to consider doing a tribal DNA test, and here's why. When I did my test, it was a tribal DNA test, and it actually told me that I'm 92% West African with the highest concentration in Igbo and Yoruba, just like the animation. What a coincidence, right? At any rate, I want to tell you one thing about each of those tribes that impressed me. And that's why I say it's important to know the culture. Because if I had just said I was 92% West African, I mean, they would have been happy. The Africans would have been happy for me. You know, they expressed happiness. But when I know the tribe, it brings it to a whole nother level. It opens up a richness that I cannot fully describe, but it's something that I want each of you to experience. Each of you that wants to. I know not everybody wants to, so don't hate me in the comments. I know not everybody wants to. I'm only talking about those that want to, okay? That's who I'm talking to. So the Igbo, the Yoruba, and the Hausa are the three largest tribes in the nation of Nigeria. Nigeria is the largest country in Africa. It's the equivalent of the United States to North America. It's the equivalent of Germany to the European Union. That is what Nigeria is. It's the largest economy. It's the most populous nation. It's been referred to as the jewel of Africa. No shade to the other countries, okay? I love all of Africa. Now the Yoruba have a naming ceremony. This is why I want to tell you about the Yoruba. No shade to the Igbos. I love my Igbo side too. And my African American side. For all my African American people watching, love my African American side too. But I just want to tell you about this because I was so impressed by the Yoruba naming ceremony. It is traditional when a baby is born in Yoruba land, which is the southwest part of Nigeria, that they will have the community gather together. And if it's, let's say, mostly agrarian community, they'll bring things to bless the family, like something from what they've grown or something from what they've raised. Or if it's a more affluent community, they'll offer money, and with each offering, they will offer a name for that child. So let's just take a friend of mine, and we're going to just change the names. But let's just say my friend's name was Oyen, and but she hasn't been given a name yet. But the parents eventually decided to call her Oyen. Well, someone may have come and offered the name Sesi, or someone may have come and offered the name Wami, or someone may have come and offered the name Itunu. But the parents decided, well, we're just going to name her Sesi. So as the parents are taking little Sesi walking down the street, as she gets older, she noticed that one family, she comes up and they say, "Oh, Itunu, what a wonderful day. How lovely you are, my dear." And then she goes a little further down the street and somebody says, "Wami, you are a vision. You are such a beautiful child." Eventually, she's going to get home and say, "Why are these people calling me Itunu and Wami?" And then her parents will tell her, "Oh, my child, when you were born, they were at the naming ceremony. They each gave something to bless the family. And when they gave that to bless the family, they submitted a name. The name that they gave you, that name will be what they will call you for the rest of your life." You see, when the Europa give a name in the naming ceremony, that child is that name to them, to that family. She may be Oyen to the family where she was born, but she will be Wami to the one that named her Wami. She will be Itunu to the one that named her Itunu, and she will be Sesi to the one that named her Sesi. You see? That is a part of Yoruba culture, a rich part of Yoruba culture. Let me tell you something about the Igbos. The Igbos have this cheer. They say, "Igbo Queno." It means Igbo cheer. So they'll say, "Igbo Queno, Igbo Queno, Quezono." So that means Igbo cheer, all together now, okay? So it's just a way to express happiness. This is something particular to the Igbos. They also have a lion's head shirt. It's called Ichiago Cloth. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful cloth, and it looks royal. It really does. It's particular to the Igbo people. It's particular to their culture. The Yoruba women and the Igbo women, second to none in fashion. The way they wrap these beautiful wraps around their head called geles, particular to that culture. So why do I say I think you should consider doing the tribal DNA test? It's because when you connect to the culture, remember, we're here to promote cultural awareness. When you connect to the culture, it will add a richness to your life. It will really add a richness to your life. And that's why we recommend that. But you want to be sure that your results are correct, and we will be talking about that. Some of you may have a question, and that is, which DNA company is the one that you recommend? Or do these DNA companies keep your sample that you send? And I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that. Well, let me answer those questions. I don't recommend a particular DNA company. And I will tell you that the one that I used, I would never recommend to you, because I learned after I did my DNA test that they allowed one of the agencies to scrub some information they had about someone they were looking for that had done a criminal act against the database, which included my DNA. Now, although I'm not a criminal and never planned to be one, I just think that was an invasion of privacy, and they didn't pay me for it. Now, maybe if they had paid me, got my permission, and I said, okay, that'd be one thing, but they didn't do that. So they got my money, kept the information. So I'm going to say DYOR. And of course, you know what that means. Do your own research. Research whether or not they will destroy the sample. There's only one company that I know of that says that they will do that they will destroy the sample. But I don't want to say their name because they might change their policy, and I don't want somebody coming for me in the comment section. You told me that they wouldn't do it. And no, not going there. So do your own research, but I will tell you what I recommend you look for. Look for a company that is going to guarantee you that they're not keeping your sample. That's going to guarantee you that they're not going to allow, even if they destroy your sample, they still have your data as far as your genome, that they're not going to allow that to be used in any type of mass comparison unless it's just for the purpose of finding your relatives that are related, because you can do that with a DNA test. Look for one that has a reasonable price, because right now there's one particular company that has cut the price to find your tribe down in half. You saw in the animation it said 300 plus, and that's about what it was. When I did mine, it was over $300. But now there's a company that has for $180. That's right, $180. They will define your tribe, and from what I understand, they are using the latest technology to find your tribe. But they're so busy, because they cut the price down, I guess, they're so busy that when you go online to buy the test, they actually say, you can't buy it right now. We're so busy, you have to get in what they call a cohort to wait in line for them to contact you and tell you when you can buy the test. So, but do your research. Don't just, get all excited. I know you might be excited after this video, but tamp down on that excitement a bit. I want you to keep it, just keep it under the level. And I want you to go and do your research. And then when you have found a company that satisfies you, then get that one done. When I did my research, because I did do my research, there was one particular company, I won't name them, but when you do your research, you'll find out. They're partially owned by a big giant technology company and partially owned by a big giant healthcare company. Okay? I said I am not submitting my DNA to that company. And it's one that advertises on television a lot. So you need to do your research. Okay? I can't stress that enough. Now, we have come to the part that you've all been waiting for, the part I'm so excited to share with you. What I want to tell you is, as I mentioned earlier, I get so many questions about how do you know that the DNA test was accurate? It told you you're Igbo, it told you you're Europa. How do you know that's right? Well, this is the way that I recommend. I recommend you do your research. So this is what I recommend. I recommend you do your research. You come to the conclusion of a company that you're satisfied with. Get your tribal test done. See what the results are of that tribal test. Okay? So like in my example, it said 92% West African. Then do one of two things. If you can afford it, schedule a trip to go there. But before you schedule that trip, I want you to seek out people that are right here, because in the United States of America, there's just about everybody here. Okay, now I know this video is going out past America, but wherever you're from, wherever you are in the world that you're watching this from, please let us know in the comments. I would love to know where this video goes and what far reaches of the planet it gets to and who's watching it. I would just love to know that. Thank you so much for doing that. But wherever you are, seek out some of the people that it says that you are in the same tribe with. So if it says that you have, in my example, Europa, see if you can find some Yoruba people. Ask them this question. Do I look like any particular tribe? Don't lead them. Don't say, do I look like a Yoruba? Because they might think he thinks he's a Yoruba. Just to pat him on the head and make him feel better, I'm going to say yes. But I'm not sure. No, don't lead them. Just ask them the general question. Do I look like any tribe that you might be familiar with? Because have you ever looked at families? Have you ever looked at a picture? You've seen a father and a daughter, or you've seen a cousin or a sister or a brother, and you say, well, I know they're related to that person. I guarantee you, if you see a picture of my brother's children, my nephews, when my wife first saw my nephews, she said, oh my gosh, they look like they could be your children. I said, that's because we have the same DNA. My brother and I had the same parents. We have the same DNA. His children look like they could be my children. Because, and my brother, you could definitely tell he's my brother, right? You can tell my sister's my sister. You can tell I'm some of my cousins. Not everyone, but a lot of them, you can tell that we're related. So in the same way, even though it might have been hundreds of years separation, the DNA is not hundreds of years separated. So with the DNA, you can tell similarities. And believe me, Africans know people that look like certain tribes. I have a particular friend. She goes to Ghana regularly. She said when she goes to Ghana, she said it never fails that someone from Kenya will come up and they'll be speaking the Kenyan language. They'll be happy to see her because she's a beautiful young lady. And then they start looking at her kind of strange. Why aren't you responding? Why aren't you saying anything? And then she says, I'm African American. I only speak English. And they say, oh, you are Kenyan. They tell her that she's Kenyan. She has never had a DNA test. But she's had so many people tell her she's Kenyan that she already knows. So in my example, I actually visited the nation of Nigeria in 2013. I'll do a video on that because there's so much to unpack there. The rich cultural engagement, that's why I'm telling you. I'm just so excited for the people that are going to do this and connect to your culture. When you do, please let us know. Come back and let us know in the comments. I really want to know because we went to 4 different cities. We went to Abuja, which is the capital. We went to Abeokuta, which is like 60 miles from Lagos, Lagos is the largest city in Africa. It's also the largest city in Nigeria. It's kind of like the New York of Africa, okay? Just from everybody. There's people from all over the world in Lagos. So, and Lagos is in Europa land. And we went to, and Abeokuta, as I was saying, is like 60 miles from Lagos. And then Badagry, which is the point of no return for people that unfortunately were taken and enslaved from Nigeria, they were taken from Badagry. So we went to those 4 places, but every place we went, people were asking me if I was Nigerian. And my answer was, I don't know. I'm African American. Have to do some DNA, you know. The enslavement thing happened, and so we don't know what our ancestral connection is. And they wouldn't stop there. The people would tell me, you are an Igbo man. I tell you, you are an Igbo. Or the Yorubas would say, you have Yoruba features. I believe you are a Yoruba. I said, well, I don't know. But interestingly enough, the Igbos didn't see the Yoruba side and the Yorubas didn't see the Igbo side. That is really interesting. I still find that interesting to this day. But at any rate, when I did my DNA test, what did it tell me? 92% West African, specifically named the Igbo and Yoruba tribes. So when I get the question, are you sure? How do you know it's accurate? I tell people I'm 100% sure. Because actually, in my case, the DNA test confirmed what the people told me. But it can work exactly the opposite way. So I encourage you to do your research. Step 1, do your own research. Well, I guess step 1 is watching this video. So you've already done step 1. Step 2, do your own research. Find a company you're comfortable with. I've heard good things about the one that has the $180 and, you know, have the cohort, but they're so busy right now. And if this video goes viral, then they may be even more busy because you all are going to do your research and you might share it in the comments, but I'm not going to tell you who they are. I want you to find out for yourself because if these companies disappoint you in the future, I don't want you to come back and say, Richard, you told us that is the way we should go. So I don't want you mad at me, okay? And I told you, I was disappointed with the one that I used. So I don't want you to be disappointed from me telling you the wrong thing. But I do want you to do your research. Find one that you are confident about. Find one that you feel good about. Get your DNA done. Find your tribe. And those that want to connect to your culture, it will be a rich experience. And if you haven't already, watch this video. The video, it's in your DNA. When I was in Nigeria, on the sands of Badagry, The point of no return, where my ancestors had been taken from Nigeria hundreds of years before. I got a poem, it's called It's in Your DNA, and it is inspirational. So be prepared to be inspired, be prepared to be motivated. It's in your DNA, and if I can figure it out, I'm going to link it somewhere, but if not, it's going to be on my channel, because you know, this all is new to me, okay? But I'll be polished as anybody before long. Thank you so much for watching. And please let me know your favorite parts in the comment section. Until next time, goodbye.